Hey guys, since we are all stuck under quarantine right now, we have a lot of time on our hands, and a good way to utilize this time would either be by learning some kind of a coding language and its applications, or you could take up a new hobby. So, today I'll be talking about one of my hobbies, which is using a software called Photoshop. And for those who don't know what Photoshop is, it is a image editing software by Adobe, which is a very simple way of putting it. And you can use the software for even graphic designing if you are interested. And just to give you all a glimpse into what Photoshop is capable of, today we will be taking up a project where I will show you how to get the color pop effect on any photograph that you might have taken. So for those who don't know what color pop effect is, it is basically an image where you have only one color which is being displayed while the rest of the image remains black and white. So just to give you all an example of what it is, we will go on the browser and we'll see what it is. So here I have open a few images, and like you can see here, there is an image where the rest of the image is black and white and we only have the color of the flower that we can see. So we will try and recreate a similar effect on another photo of our choice. So let's do this. Those of you who are not very avid photographers, you can use this kind of effect on portrait images usually. So we will look at one of those images. So let me just open a new tab here, and let's go for a nature portrait image. So that's what I'll search here. And a good place to take photos from is unsplash.com. For those who don't know, they even provide very good wallpapers as well. So this very first image is a very good way, is a very good example to show you all how we can use the color pop effect. So I will just download this image. Now I have already downloaded this image, so I'm not going to download it again, but you guys can go ahead and download it. And one thing you should know is the resolution of this image, and on unsplash.com there is a tab here which is the info tab, where you can always go and check the resolution of the image. So the resolution of this image is 2832 by 4240. So knowing this resolution is very important for the next step. So of course, to do this edit you will need to have Photoshop, and once you have installed Photoshop, you can just go ahead and go to the folder where you have installed the application and go ahead and open it. This might take some time depending on what configuration your laptop or your computer has. If it's a lower end PC, then it may take longer than what I am taking right now. So this is how the application will look once you have opened it. So yeah, to open a new canvas, you can just click on create new, which is right here. And like I said, knowing the resolution of the image is very important. So like I said, you have many options here that you can select from. There is photos and print, based on whether you want to create an image which is A4 size, or there are different ways if you want a web illustration or mobile illustration. So since we are just working on an image, I'll just go on photo, and right here you will enter the resolution. Make sure before you put in the width and the height of the image, you change the unit to pixels, because that's the unit we'll be working in. So 28324240, and we'll choose the orientation, which is either landscape or portrait. So we choose portrait because that's the image file format. And resolution, you can not, if you are not aware of what all this is, you can avoid it for now. This is the default, which is good enough for everyone. And yeah, and then you can click on create, and you can even change the name of the file right here. So we just say color pop create. So once you click on create, it will open the canvas and the canvas will initially be blank. And yeah, so now what we do is we have to first import the image into this canvas. So we go to where we have downloaded the image, and you can drag the image and you can paste it right on the canvas, and you click enter so that you accept that you have imported the image here. Now there are two ways of obtaining the effect of color pop that we want. There is an easier way where the output won't be very refined. There'll be a few places where the color won't be completely black and white, and the other way, which is a little complicated and time consuming, but I'll show you that method as well. So let's start with the easier method. So in this method we will be playing with the saturation of the image, and to do that we will be choosing an adjustment layer, and your adjustment layers are right here. So this tab, it shows you the adjustment layers right here. If you click on it, it will show you many different adjustment layers. We will be playing with saturation, so we'll choose the hue and saturation layer. Now once you choose that layer, it will create a new layer right here above the image, and you will get a dialog box here which will show you the settings that can be changed for this image. So if you play with the hue, it will change the colors of the image. If you play the saturation, it will increase and decrease the amount of color that's present, and the lightness will change the amount of exposure that the image is getting. But like we know, what we need is to get the color to pop from any one particular object here. So we'll be choosing the mountains for the main subject where the color will pop. So to reduce the color of the green to black and white, the easiest way is to select this button. It is known as the eyedropper tool, where you can basically select the color for which you want to change the settings. So you can see there is a gradient of green color, but we'll just choose a very neutral color, which is right here. And once we select it, you can see here that there was a selection made where it's selecting the green and the yellow colors because that's the closest that this area is getting to. And now if we just use the saturation slider and take it all the way to the left, you will see that the colors are increasing and decreasing. So if we take it all the way to the left, you can see that all the colors have become completely black and white. So this is one way of doing it, but you can see that there are a lot of details which have been left out. So to see what these details are, you can zoom into the image using the Ctrl+ key and the Ctrl- key on your keyboard. So if I use the Ctrl+ key, and then I can move around the image using the spacebar. So if I hold down the spacebar, I get this hand tool which I can move around the image without affecting anything. So you can see that the path on which people walk is also left untouched because it has a similar color to that of the mountains. So to change this, what we can do is we will actually import an adjustment layer called the black and white layer. So right here we have the black and white layer, and if I click on it, it will create another layer right here above the saturation layer, and it will even create a dialog box right here. So for now we do not need to take care of the dialog box because it has automatically turned the whole image into black and white. Now to see what the original image looked like before we imported the black and white layer, we can use this little icon here which is known as the eye, and if you turn it off, it will basically turn the layer that was turning the image black and white invisible. So right now, since the eye is off, we can see what was underneath the black and white layer, and now if we turn it on, it will turn everything again into black and white. So what we need is only to turn the path which is right here into black and white and keep the rest of the image the way it is. So to do that is that we select this white canvas right here, and then we select the brush tool from the toolbar on the left hand side. So once the brush tool has been selected, we can select what path we want to affect. So before doing that, we need to even invert the effect that the black and white layer is having because we do not want the whole image to turn black and white. So to invert the change that the black and white layer is causing, we can press Ctrl-I, and you can see that right here the canvas which was before white in color has now turned black, and the whole canvas where the image was has got its colors back. before we imported the black and white layer. So now using the brush tool, we can adjust what parts of the image we want to turn black and white and what parts we want to keep the color. So in this case, since we want the path to be black and white, once I've selected the brush tool, we have the color palette right here from where we can choose what colors we want. I'm going to keep it black and white. Now what the black and white will help us do is affect what part of the image is going to turn black and white. So selecting the white layer right here, I will be able to affect areas in a way such that they'll turn black and white. So for example, if I just use a brush tool and color here, you will see that the rocks, the mountains are turning black and white. Okay, so just like that, we can turn any area we want into black and white. So I'll just press Ctrl Z to undo what I've done right now. And now we'll color the path into black and white. Now since you can see that the brush tool is very big and it will affect a wider area, and we do not want that to happen. So what we will do is we'll reduce the size of the brush, and to do that you can press the Alt button on your keyboard and the right hand mouse button, and you can drag it on the horizontal axis, and you will see that the brush size is increasing and decreasing. So we'll decrease it so that we can comfortably, without any errors, create the effect. So now that I've reduced it, I'll color over the area that I want to turn black and white. So right here, I want to turn all of this area into black and white. So that's why I'll go over it. Now you might be thinking why I'm going over the path so carefully when the rest of it is black and white. So the issue right in this image, like I said, the saturation is a quicker way to get the effect you want, but the effect that saturation gives you is not a completely black and white image. So even if I go over these areas which you may think is black and white, it's actually does contain a little bit color still. If I go over it, you will see that it's turning the area into black and white now, and before it wasn't. So that's why I was going over the path carefully so that it does not affect the area around it, because if it would, then you would be able to see it in the image as a overall. So now you can see that we have obtained a pretty good rendition of what we wanted. The sky and the ground is black and white, and the mountains that we wanted are having the color pop in them. So you all can try this method, and if you all have any doubts, you all can go ahead and ask any of the doubts you all have in the comments below. The next method, which is a more tedious method, we'll take it up in another video. Otherwise this video is going to get too long. So yeah, until next time.